What's up, YouTube world? This particular video, right, I've been wanting to make for a few days now. I feel the time has come now for me to finally make a part 2, right, of withdrawal symptoms. Not only withdrawal symptoms, right, but sort of the way I see it now is sort of a dark force activation within you, right? The darkness within you becomes, not to say becomes alive, it sort of becomes triggered, and it sort of gets activated, right? And then you start getting all these weird symptoms and sort of a foreign or what's unfamiliar feeling, right, within you. So the reason I've been having a strong desire to make this at this point in time, right, is because me myself, I'm in sort of like in the eye of the storm, right? I'm in a dark phase of NoPMO journey. I think I'm in the 6th week or something like that. So if you feel like week 3, I mean, it'll get better. Week 4, but week 6, it's shit is real, right? The struggle is real, man. So number 1, right, it's suddenly there'll be your mood shifts, right? There's a shift in your mood. I noticed that my mood is sort of a somber mood, right? And I noticed you might get a sort of a deep inner sadness that creeps up within you, right? For no particular reason, right? I mean, your day, there's nothing bad going on in your day, right? But there's this deep inner sadness that sort of emerges from within you. Along with this, right, I've observed that, or I noticed that the joy, I mean, it's the way I see it, like it's very short-lived, right? The moments of joy is a short-lived joy almost. So you gotta keep on doing more of things that brings you joy, right? Like throughout the day, to make sure that you don't your emotionally don't fall further down, right, in a way. So you got to keep on doing more things, a lot more things, right, to keep you stable at least. Number 2 is a sort of more of a physical body thing, right? It's that it's a very even today I've noticed it. It's a very uneasy. I feel very fidgety, right? That I can't sit still, and there's a sort of a restlessness within the body, right? It's like you just can't sit still, man. It's very fidgety and things like that. It's very uneasy feeling, right, in your body. Number 3 is sort of a numbed, sort of my senses are numbed, right, in a way. An example of this is I've been noticing, like I have pretty good sound setup, right, in my car with a proper subwoofer, right? So, and the sound, I know it sounds, I mean, when I sit in my car and blast my music, right, I know it always picks me up, right? My mood always picks up after listening to the music, right? But recently, I mean, when I'm going through this phase of the dark phase of withdrawal and things like that, right, I noticed that the senses, because I think probably I don't quite feel the music as I normally do. It's like it's a bit low. I don't even feel the bass, man. Like the bass, I just don't feel the bass. I just don't feel the music, man. So it's like it's a very numbed feeling, man. My senses, even visually, right? Even my eyes, it's a bit sort of blurry almost, right? It's everything gets like toned down a bit. Your receivers get toned down a bit, right? Or toned down a notch in a way. So along with that, right, I've noticed that I have this lot of sleepy eye, man. Almost it just automatically becomes like it just like I can't open it fully, right? It's always a bit sleepy. There's a bit of a sleepy eyes, right? And also I don't know how to explain this, but it's sort of a sleepy head, right? Even your head sort of, everything like just move like downwards, right? It's like a bit down. So it's a weird feeling, man. The fourth thing that I always notice, right? This is probably because the energy, your sexual energy is building up within you. So it sort of makes sense. Is a sort of an inner heat, right, within you. But the thing is, my inner heat, I don't feel it in my legs or in my arms and things like that. It's always in that heart space area, right? There is a inner heat, man. There's sort of like a hot feeling, right, within my body. And along with that, I notice like there's the vibe, right? The vibe within me, there's a very uncomfortable or unfamiliar vibe that surrounds me. It's just, I just don't feel like myself, right? Number 5, right? This is something maybe I didn't quite pick up in the early stages, right? But right now I see it more clearly, is that my mind becomes sort of hyperactive, man, all of a sudden, like more active than usual, right? I've always been very good at sort of keeping a calm and quiet mind. But when I'm in this stage of the journey, right, I've noticed it becomes very hyperactive, right? I have to make an extra effort just to keep it in check almost, right? And specifically, it's always moved towards a negative sort of thought patterns, right? It's actively giving me sort of a negative thought pattern. It's like a loop, right, that's running. I can observe it, but you gotta be extra careful not to get sucked into it, right? That negative thought pattern almost. So along with that, it always comes, it's something very obvious I've noticed recently, is that self-doubt, right? I start getting thoughts of self-doubt a lot more when I'm in in this dark phase, right? Shit like, it's like questioning your life status at the moment, right? Almost. One particular sort of a thought loop that I always notice, right, is that I get this. It's like thinking or contemplating on like how boring or how dreadful my current life is, right? Or where am I going? Which direction am I going? It's like questioning yourself, right? It's like, are you in the right path? Things are not working out. There's a lot of negative thoughts, right? Number 6 is that I feel there's a sort of a negative energy field, right, surrounding my like throat region, throat and neck area, right, almost, or the throat chakra around there, all towards around this region, right? I feel there's a very negative energy feel, or it sort of feels like that to me, right? And also like a dark cloud almost that's hovering around my head, right? It's hard to explain, but it sort of feels like that to me, right? And along with this, I've noticed like I think I've made a video about this, right? A choking feeling around my throat area. It's like internally getting choked up, right? And sort of a stuck energy almost. A lot of sort of like the energy is like knotted up into a sort of a loop or something, right? And also it's like there's phlegm, right, almost in the deep depths of my throat somewhere, which I can't even clear it, man. I gotta cough or try to get rid of it, but there's like trapped phlegm even, right? It's very uncomfortable, man. So number 7 is like I always have I can't do it all the time, right? But it feels to me like I just feel like sometimes when I'm in this stage, I just feel like I want to scream out loud, right? Just scream it all out. It's like when I'm working out in the gym, you can't scream all the time, right? When I'm working out in the gym, it sort of helps with helps for a while, right? As I mentioned, it's a very short-lived, man. All the good things that you do, right? The effects are very short-lived, and in stages like this. So it helps in a way, but there's always a feel that I feel like letting it all out, right? It's like breaking out of it, right? And I just want to scream out loud. I do that sometimes when I'm driving, right? When nobody's looking. So number 8 is like, last but not least, it's a sort of a summary, right? I notice that there's a strong feel within me, right? That sort of a feel of being in a just feels like I'm in a very dark and lonely, isolated place, right? It sort of feels like that when you're going through the dark phases of withdrawal, right? It's not like that I mean, even when you're with people, right? Sometimes I think even when you're surrounded by people, right, having a good time, when it comes, you still sort of feel like sort of almost withdrawn, right? And you feel like you're in a cocoon almost, in your own little tiny world, right? I hope this video has helped at least one of you, right? This has been it has been tough for me making this video even, right? Normally I don't like to talk too long, right? But I think this will be my longest video for this year, right? So I just felt that I want to sort of close this chapter, right? Almost the withdrawal and what happens when the dark forces within you gets activated, right? And then I've done like partially, I think few years back. So I just want to close the chapter with this, right? So this is the things you can expect to sort of to be some of the things you gotta get prepared for, right? That not all of these you might experience, right? Some of these might get thrown at you that you gotta be prepared when it comes your way. So until my next video, peace out.